Hey, welcome back. So glad you could join me. My name is Vicki-Lynne. If you've clicked here, you know that. I'm back with a little bit of a grocery haul and a meal prep this time. We're going to get into it. I've basically gone to Aldi and Cermak, which is another store that we have here in Chicago, but it's just a great place to get fresh produce at a good price. And we all know that prices are a little high lately, so we're just doing everything we can to try to stay in our budget. And if you're new here, I follow the Starch Solution. I try to eat a whole food, plant-based diet, oil-free, not fat-free, oil-free, so I don't cook with any oil. And at least I try to live that way. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for clicking on my video. I appreciate it. I hope you find any of the information or tips that I may have informative to you. So let's get into this haul, and then we'll get into the meal prep. So the first thing I got, of course, as you saw in the thumbnail, is potatoes, and I'm always getting different types of potatoes. So I get russets, and I'm going to put those obviously just in my Instant Pot, or I'm going to do baked potatoes. I like to have those already kind of pre-cooked so that I can make those in the air fryer as French fries or hash browns, whatever. I did get sweet potatoes, and I got the Oriental yams, which I really do like. And then I got Yukon Ghouls for making my cheese sauce and stuff, and just making like smashed potatoes, which is like another one of my favorites. And I have that recipe too. And then for the frozen section, which I want to get back into the freezer, I got a big bag of the hash browns and some broccoli. Does anybody know what's coming on that one? Yes, I'm making my cheesy hash brown casserole. Haven't had that for a while, so both my husband and I love that. So that's an easy thing to put together with my cheese sauce, which I'll add up here. I think we all know that cheese sauce recipe, and that's like a super simple one. And I think I'm going to add some of the cauliflower rice to that. That just bulks up the non-starch in it, along with the broccoli florets. And I did get actually 2 bags of the broccoli florets this time because I just love broccoli and I just find it adds more to it. So we did that, and I did get a couple of just some stir-fry vegetable blends, which I think is great. The prices at Aldi are super cheap. They're like 95 cents for a bag, and I do find that the broccoli and the vegetables are really good. You're not getting a lot of the stems in there, which I think is fabulous. But I don't mind the stems. So if I have fresh broccoli, I cook those stems. I just chop them a little bit thinner, and I use them anyway because they are edible. Just peel the stems off, and that will make them tender. So try not to waste anything. And you can take your peelings too, put them in that bag for the soup stock that we're always talking about. If you've been here before, you know. Almond milk, and that one's vanilla. We usually get an unsweetened one, a regular one just for making mashed potatoes or whatever. I did get a can of diced tomatoes because I am making a chili this week. That's going to be in our meal prep, because chili is great over the potatoes, over rice, whatever you want. I got a pack of mint because I love putting mint in my water and doing it in spring rolls, things like that. A package of romaine lettuce, also great for making sandwiches, using them as romaine boats to put in as tacos or anything else. Cauliflower. Cauliflower wings. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that yet. I'm still thinking about it. I was actually thinking about making ceviche out of it. Some cucumbers. I did get some avocados. My husband and I love avocados. I try to stay away from it, and I'm trying to limit my avocados and my fat intake a little bit. We did get some grapes. They were on sale. I like the yellow. He likes the red, so we take turns. And then just some cabbage. And again, great for putting on tacos, making a fresh coleslaw, which I have a recipe for that up here. I have a couple of recipes, which makes it super simple. I did get some green peppers. There were 3 in this. I already used one. And I'm going to use a green pepper in the chili recipe. Super simple again. And again, you make a big batch of it, then you can freeze half of it, or just, you know, that's the great thing about chili. It's great all the time. You can have it for lunch or for supper, over rice, over your potatoes. There's so many things. You can even thin it out and put it over spaghetti. Again, chili is like a great thing, and you can make so many different types of chili. So I'm going to show you chili in this meal prep, but I also have another great high protein chili where I actually put quinoa in it. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for this one, because I have another way of making this another high protein one. Bananas, of course, and we do so much with bananas, guys. Nice cream, you know, I have a couple of recipes. I'll link those up there too. Just some apples, so Granny Smiths, and these ones were huge. They're like the size, that's one. They're like the size of my head almost. And of course, Honey Crisp, which are literally my favorite. My husband got some pears and some peaches. Those are his favorites. And we're just leaving them out to ripen a little bit. I got a beautiful kale. And I think I'm just going to saute this one up, I think. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a kale salad or not. And then just some cilantro. So I kept it pretty simple. So we just have our fruits for snacking. I'm going to make a cheese sauce with the regular potatoes. I do already have carrots. I'm already using what I have. I already had onions, so I'm just trying to use pantry staples. And I already had beans and stuff. So again, what I do is I go through my pantry, figure out what I already have, and then I go from that to figure out what I want to make. So I already looked and was like, oh, I have all these beans and everything. I had some of the tomatoes already. Let's make a chili this week. That was the first thing on the list. And then the casserole for the broccoli and potato casserole. That's like an easy thing that everybody really likes, and that's good for breakfast, lunch, or even sometimes for dinner as a side dish, and that's a really good 50-50 one. So let's get into the meal prep, guys. Stick with me. So we're going to start with our chili as our first meal prep item. And so again, chili is great. You can put whatever you want in it. I'm actually going to, where did I put them? Oh, I don't even know where I put my stuff anymore. I'm actually going to put some red lentils in mine, so that's going to boost up the protein. I'm putting in kidney beans and black beans, but you can put whatever you have. I find chili is like a great pantry clean out. If you don't want to go grocery shopping, it's really a great pantry meal. And again, guys, these meals are just suggestions. They're just, I'm not an expert on anything. These are just great starch solution meals. They're oil-free. Just go with them. They're just to give you insight and hopefully some creative ideas so that you can make your own. But go in your own pantry and see what you have. Put chickpeas in if that's what you have, if you don't have kidney beans. And I have done that. Or white beans, cannelli beans. Make your chili. You don't even have to have a red sauce. Some people don't like tomatoes, and sometimes tomatoes aren't always the best for me either, because I have some issues where I should be staying away from tomatoes. You can make it a white chili. There are white chili recipes. So we're going to get going, and I'm just going to start chopping up my vegetables. So I like to get everything prepared so we can just head to the stove, and this comes together really quick, and then you're just going to let it cook. Now to get our chili going, we're going to start chopping up some of our vegetables, and we're going to start with our celery. I'm using about 3 ribs of celery, and again, it's chili, guys, so you can make this pot as big as you want or as little as you want. I'm starting with 3 ribs of celery. I'm dicing it, and again, you can dice it the way you like it. Also going to do some green pepper. Going to dice that up. You could also use a red pepper in here. You can use any color pepper you want. I just happen to have green pepper. Red pepper would be excellent in this. Just going to also dice this up. The other things you could add in here, you could add any other vegetables that you might have in your fridge. Zucchini would be good in this. Any other peppers you might have. You could also dice in some jalapenos. I'm keeping the heat level down on this recipe, but please feel free to adjust it. Again, make these recipes your own and just add in whatever makes you happy. I have to watch the heat level, but you don't. So if you're into the heat, add some jalapenos or a serrano pepper if you're really adventurous. So we're just going to finish dicing up the green pepper. And of course, we're going to then move on to our onion. All chilies have the basics: onions, celery, peppers. And chilies are great for anything. You could also add in some potatoes. Sweet potato would be also great into this. We're making this, again, higher in protein by adding the red lentils, which is also great. I also have my other recipe for the high protein chili that I made with the quinoa, which is also excellent. Another one of my favorites, which I will tag here for you guys. Just give this a quick dice, and we're going to cook this all down. As you're sweating your vegetables, we're going to add some garlic. You could use fresh garlic. I'm just going to use the one from the fridge. Let that cook down. Let those veggies release their juices also. We want them to brown a little bit. That's going to give us some flavor. Now let's add in the rest of our ingredients. Our red lentils. So you can use 2 cans, or I'm using 2 small cans. And I'm using fire roasted tomatoes. That's going to add extra flavor. You could use regular canned tomatoes, whatever you have. Totally up to you. Again, I'm just cleaning out my pantry. This is what I had. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm using a bouillon cube and some water. Use your veggie stock. I just didn't make any this time, but I would normally just use my scraps from the fridge. And don't forget, I'll have the measurements down below. So 2 teaspoons though of cumin, and it's how you like it. Again, it's your recipe, guys. You guys will figure it out the way you like it. A couple of tablespoons of chili powder. A couple of teaspoons of oregano. Smoked paprika. And I'm going to add a pinch of cayenne. Give that a stir. Put the lid on. Let's put our beans in there. So I'm just using kidney beans and black beans, but you could use whatever beans you had in your house. Any kind of good bean goes well in here. Could even add in a sweet potato or 2, but let's bring that up to a boil. We're going to turn that down and let that simmer and cook, and let all those flavors marinate, and let our red lentils cook. And once that's simmered for half an hour or so and everything has cooked, once it's settled for a little bit, it will thicken up. So now we're going to put together our potato broccoli cheesy casserole, which I love. So again, just grabbing a bag of hash browns, and then just make sure in the back that all the ingredients are just the potatoes, and these ones are just potatoes. I like to let them thaw out just a little bit. do make it easier for them to stir everything together. And our bag of broccoli. Now, if you didn't have broccoli, spinach would be excellent in this. Mixed vegetables I've used before, also excellent in this recipe. Again, clean out your pantry, clean out your freezer, put whatever you want in it. I like a lot of broccoli, as you can tell. I love my broccoli. And then we're going to spice it up a little bit. So I'm going to use some extra garlic, some onion powder, and some Cajun style seasoning, because we like things a little bit spicy. I have to watch the spice, but my husband loves it. But that's a lot of mixture. And then our little liquid gold here, our cheese sauce, which I've already made. We're going to start pouring some of that in. Start with that and get that mixed in. See how that turns out. And if we need more. You're going to want to preheat your oven to 350. I'm using a 9x13 style pan. You can use whatever kind of casserole dish that you have. And again, you can make a smaller batch if you're single. You could just use a smaller pack of potatoes and adjust it, or use half a pack and just one thing of broccoli. This is just, these are just ideas, but this is all oil-free, gluten-free, super delicious. Good, I'm gonna have a little cheese sauce left over for the rest of the week. That looks like it should be enough. You could even add breadcrumbs to the top of this if you wanted to, guys. My oven's already. You're just going to want to spread this out as best you can. So if you have an Aldi, again, their frozen vegetables are excellent. I don't know if you can tell, but you're getting like big pieces of broccoli. You're not just getting those little, you know, some of those you just get crappy little stems and stuff. I really like their frozen vegetables there, and they're super affordable, which we're all looking for right now. All right, so just spread it out. I'm going to add a little extra seasoning on top. And again, you can put breadcrumbs on top to make it crunchy if that's what you like. Now we're going to bake this in the oven. You just want to bake it till it's all brown and cooked. It's usually about 30 minutes, but everybody's oven's different, so keep an eye on it. 20 to 30 minutes. And then you can just slice it up as the week goes by, and you can either warm it up in the microwave, warm it up in a frying pan, in your toaster oven, or your air fryer. In the oven we go. The other thing I did for my meal prep was I made some no-knead bread. That recipe is on my site too. I have a video for it. Super simple to make. So I'm just going to take my Dutch oven and I'm going to stick it in the oven while my oven is preheating at 450. It's very important. If you don't have a Dutch oven, no worries, you can still do this. You can just use 2 loaf pans, but put them in the oven while your oven is preheating. It's important for them to get really scorching hot to help everything kind of cook and make everything work really well together. So I'm going to throw this into the oven. So if you were going to use 2 pans, as long as they were non-stick, you wouldn't even need the parchment paper. You could just actually, you could grease your pan, you could use the parchment paper, totally up to you, whatever you want to do. I used to just actually throw it in when they're hot, cover it, like a little dome, put them back in the oven to cook that way. It worked fine, but I finally did get a Dutch oven. What you're going to use is some parchment paper. You want it big enough to go in your pot. And I like to crumple it up. This makes it easier. Work with the dough a little bit. We're just going to add a little flour here. You're just going to take your dough out. And again, there's no oil in this. Super easy dough. I made it last night. You just let it sit on the countertop all day for 12 to 18 hours. It's a no-knead recipe. So again, when I did my video, I discussed how difficult this is for me not to knead it because I am a true baker and I used to make bread. I am just rolling this because I want it to look a little bit less, I want it to look a little neater on top. But literally, you're going to wait. That's it. You're going to wait for your pan to get screaming hot in the oven. When your oven is preheated, I'm going to show you. You're going to bring it out. You're just going to take this, you're going to plop it in your pan, put your lid on, put it in the oven and bake it for 30 minutes. When the 30 minutes are up, you're going to take the lid off and then you're going to brown it for about 15 minutes. So super simple, it takes nothing. I usually put this together before I go to bed at night, and then the next night for supper, you have this delicious bread. And we're going to have that with our chili tonight, so perfect. It's going to last us a couple of days. The oven is hot, preheating's gone, the pot is hot. We're just going to take our dough, drop it in our pot, easy peasy, put our lid on and seal it, put the paper in. Okay, and then we're going to put it back in the oven. For 30 minutes.